Hello, I'm Dr. Gloria Horsley.
And I'm her daughter, Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Heidi and I want to welcome you to Open to Hope Conversations, the podcast.
We believe that the greatest gift you can give yourself after a loss is hope, using this moment to connect with others who have not only survived but thrived.
So let's get started. Welcome to the Open to Hope Show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my daughter and co-host,
Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Well, Heidi, we have got a great question today, and it is from Gary. And he says that my dad died a month ago, and I'm back to work next week. I work in high tech, and I am a bit concerned with controlling my feelings. Could you give me some suggestions? A month is not a long time, and especially to lose a parent.
And I guess the first thing I'd want to know is, do people at work know?
Mm-hmm.
And does he want them to know? And maybe he doesn't want to be the one to tell them. Maybe he wants somebody else to tell them. But I would suggest that somehow the people at work are informed that he's had a loss.
Mm-hmm.
And that his dad died.
Yeah, hopefully they do know, and maybe some people even went to the funeral. I mean, that's the best case scenario. But you do need to figure out some safe people to be able to help you there. First of all, I do want to say that grief, having after a month, don't expect too much from yourself after a month. That is not a long period of time. It can be really difficult.
I agree with you, Mom, especially when he's first gotten back.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely needs to find some safe spaces where he can go and take a break from work and maybe cry or maybe just breathe or maybe get his thoughts together. I don't know. A lot of people in high tech work in cubicles. They don't have their own offices because they're working with a team. So it's harder to kind of close the door.
One of the great places to go is the bathroom.
Well,
absolutely. If you are feeling a moment,
yeah,
and you excuse yourself, go in, put some cold water on your face, wash your hands, have a moment. It's pretty hard to scream in there, but getting in your car is also a good place to scream during your lunch hour.
Oh, I like that.
If you need to do that.
Yeah, if you go in the car, going into the car.
Yeah, trying to find a safe place if you really need the moment to break down. Now, if you're in a really supportive environment, you can say to someone, I need to take a moment. I'll be back. Don't worry. I'll be back in a few minutes. And you may need to walk around or take a moment or have some cold drink. One of the things that you recommend, Heidi, is having a bottle of water. You can even put it in the freezer at home and having cold water with you, because not only can you drink it, but you can put it on your neck, right?
Or just hold the bottle. I mean, I think you have to be really proactive. If you're going into a meeting or going into a place where you don't want to grieve, I think you can be really proactive and bring a bottle of water and you can hold it in your hands. You can bring a mint candy and you can suck on it. So it brings you into the present, like you said. You can drink water, you can have candy to suck on, you can have something that you smell. Maybe nobody sees it, put lotion on your hands and smell it. Anything that brings you kind of into the present and out of your emotional place can be helpful if you're in a situation where you're going into a meeting, you don't want to cry.
Sour babies, those kinds of things that really give you a quick.
Exactly. And focus on them while you're eating the sour babies. Focus on them.
Mm-hmm. So it's important to, I guess, a distraction if you're worried about being, back at work at that time, because a month is not, a long time. And hopefully you'll have a boss. There's a lot of working at home now, so maybe you'll be able to mix it up. So you only come in for a couple of hours and then you work at home for a few hours and,
Well, maybe. And the other thing is, Mom, a lot of people say, people are damned if they do and they're damned if they don't, because while you want people to acknowledge what's gone on and that you've had a loss, sometimes you don't want them to acknowledge it, depending on what you're doing.
Exactly.
And so it's a tricky thing, right? Because sometimes you're like, okay, I don't want anyone to say anything to me right now because I don't want to go down that road.
Yeah, you're going to be surprised, and you're going to have to think about taking a deep breath. One thing that opera singers have always known is if you yawn, it opens your throat, because you know how you constrict when you're feeling stressed. Just put your hand over your mouth and yawn, to relax those muscles in your throat. And it's important to let others help you too. If there are people there who can sit in for you on a meeting or whatever, back you up, help you get around, help you with your calendar. Hopefully you've got a great assistant, that kind of thing. People can really help you out.
You're making a good point. The other thing I might want to do is go to the HR, your human resources, and find out what kind of services are offered. I mean, a lot of companies nowadays offer therapy. They offer counseling. They offer EAP, short-term 6 to 8 sessions for free. And I mean, I've certainly seen people through EAP programs in my practice. So find out what is offered. Maybe you want to take them up on that.
And you also haven't gone back to work yet. You've been out for months, so you might want to call your HR people and find out what kind of benefits and what possibilities there are. It's tricky because we've had people tell us, several people have said that they were promised their jobs back and that kind of thing, but they didn't feel like they got as good a job when they got back or whatever. So I think sometimes you have to realize that a loss may change your career path, and it may be in a good way that you don't even know. So, you've got to be a little open. And I think one thing, Heidi, it's important when you're going back to work, because you can have a lot of hurt and anger too. Try to forgive people for what they say. I mean, people are going to say some dumb things, right, Heidi?
And I think in a work community, sometimes they could say stuff like, you got to put this away. You got to get over it. You got to move on. You got to get your head back in the game. All these kind of things, which are not helpful. But from a work standpoint, people want you to move forward, and they want you to be productive again in the office.
Now, I have to say that when my son was killed, one of the things I did was I kept kind of a little angry journal where I put down the things that people said that I didn't like. And that way I didn't have to remember them. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, I put it down, chronicled. I can give my response, what a jerk or whatever, things that you can't say that, that you want to say. And you can share it with a friend, somebody who's very safe, or a therapist, or you can just, put it away for yourself to get out later.
I like that. Put it in your desk drawer. Write things down when you get mad or when you're irritated or when someone says something stupid.
Because at work you can do that. You can sit and write it. But be careful what you text to people. Be careful about your emails. Be careful of what you put on Facebook. Don't say things that you'll later regret, particularly if they're negative about somebody else who's hurt your feelings, or try to keep it fairly mild. Wouldn't you say, Heidi?
Well, yeah. I mean, once you put it in writing, you can't take it back.
Yeah. So, but forgive yourself, and important, take a walk. Try to get up from your desk at least every half hour and just walk to the water cooler or wherever.
Well, my Fitbit tells me when to get up. It'll say stand up, stretch, get out of your seat, and it goes off every, hour, I think, to tell me to do that. Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the really important things, and I want to re-stress it again, Gary, is know your benefits. I mean, really, particularly if you're working with a large company, and high tech may be fairly new, and I think they're trying to be more sensitive. So please make sure that you know your benefits. And as far as crying, people get it. I mean, if that happens, it happens. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, you do break down or whatever, and you have to, I think you'll find that there are human beings out there too that are working, and they've had loss too. So,
and it makes you more human.
Yeah.
And there'll be those people at work that'll really be supportive, and they're oftentimes people that have had their own losses.
Mm-hmm. So that's an important thing to do. And just, again, take care of yourself. Don't do a lot of drinking. Alcohol is really rough because you don't get the kind of sleep you need. And, it kind of loosens up some of your brain chemistry that you may end up being depressed. It can be very depressive at this time. And also you could say some things after work, having a drink or whatever, you could get angry with people. So you do need to be a little careful. And really the main thing is take care of yourself. Lean on those loved ones that love you. and take us, get support and help.
Yeah.
And thanks again for your question, Gary. And we hope that we've been successful in helping you. And good luck. And we are very sorry to hear about your dad. And we want to remind everybody that we'd love to get your questions. So if you want to send your questions to Open to Hope, go to our site, opentohope.com, and submit your questions to us, opentohope@gmail.com. And we will answer them on this Facebook Live. And thanks again for tuning in. And Heidi and I want to remind you, as always, if you've lost hope, please lean on ours till you find your own, and God bless.
I'm Dr. Heidi Horsley. You have been listening to Open to Hope, the podcast. You can follow Open to Hope on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. To learn more, visit us at opentohope.com and go to Apple Podcasts to subscribe.
I'm Dr. Gloria Horsley. Join us again next week for another Open to Hope conversation, where we invite you to lean on our hope until you find your own.